Isaiah Simmons was traded to the New York Giants for a 7th-round pick, the number 8 overall pick in the 2020 NFL draft, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Was traded for a 4th-round pick, which does go up there with one of the lowest draft compensations for a top 10 pick, just like Trey Lance was dealt for the lowest draft compensation of a top 5 or top 3 pick in the modern football era. So you got Isaiah Simmons that's traded to the Giants for a 7th-round pick. And looking deeper into this, I'm not going to lie. I kind of like this New York Giants defense this coming year, especially with Wink Martindale or Doug Martindale's second year actually coming in as the defensive coordinator. You now have Isaiah Simmons, who's very young, Kayvon Thibodeau, very young, Dexter Lawrence is not an old player, Bobby Okereke, not an old player, Azeez Ojulari has been very solid over his last 2 years, Deontay Banks out of the draft. And just so you guys know, Don Martindale, Wink Martindale, who is now the defensive coordinator coming into his second year, he ran that Ravens defense from 2018 to 2021, which ranked second, third, second, and 19th in total points per game over the last 4 seasons. 19th last year, second the season before, third the season before that, and so on. And I know this roster might not be like the Ravens in those previous years, but it's comparable. It's got good young talent, and Martindale made the Giants defense better last season. I think there's no question about that when you go look at the total points per game they were giving up seasons before versus seasons now. And yes, maybe the Ravens culture has always been great defensively. Maybe it's still got the Ray Lewis vibes, and obviously the Harbaugh vibes are still flowing through it as well. But we've seen it tailor off at times. 19th last year. It did go back to the 3rd best last year, if I'm not mistaken, once Matt McDonald, I believe, is the defensive coordinator. So we saw what Martindale was able to do. And let's be real. If he would have fell short, which he clearly did in his final year, when they went 19th in total points per game, if he would have fell short maybe earlier than that 19th total points per game year, I don't think that the Ravens would have kept him, because that has been their defensive culture. The Ravens, the Niners, the Steelers, defensive NFL cultures. And again, I know this roster might not be like the Ravens in those 2018 to 2021 years, but it's comparable. Good young talent: Simmons, Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, Okereke, Azeez Ojulari, Deontay Banks, which is a top corner in the draft. And Wink Martindale made that Giants defense better last season. I'm a big fan of Isaiah Simmons. I'm a very, very, very big fan of Isaiah Simmons when he was drafted out of Clemson, ACC Defensive Player of the Year, 8th overall pick, really, really good athlete. And he was a part of the 11th best, 12th best, and then the second worst defense the last 3 seasons under Vance Joseph with the Arizona Cardinals, who was just replaced by Nick Rallis, former Eagles linebackers coach that left at season after the Super Bowl, which is this recent season. I would take Wink Martindale over Vance Joseph. And they're both good, right? Like, Vance Joseph is now the defensive coordinator of the Denver Broncos, and I don't think Sean Payton's going to take any shit over there, considering how hard he's really built to rebuild the team and get things right with Russell Wilson and bring offensive players in and spend money in free agency. So when I do that little breakdown there of how it's just fared over the last 3 seasons for the few of them, and the type of player that Isaiah Simmons is under Vance Joseph, I'm probably going to put more of that on the Cardinals. But under Wink Martindale and all the young talent that he's got now, again, bringing in Deontay Banks, I do like the, I want to say Bobby Okereke was brought in as well, from the Colts, and then bringing in Isaiah Simmons. Thibodeau had a solid first year. Azeez Ojulari, 8 sacks his first year, 5.5 sacks the next year, if I'm not mistaken. So you really like what this Giants team is trying to show you defensively. But the Cardinals really didn't get their full potential out of Isaiah Simmons. And some say Isaiah Simmons isn't good. I just like to say he hasn't hit his stride really with the right coach yet and as a player. Because if you look, Arizona actually tried using him as an off-ball linebacker, and then he struggled at what he was claimed to be good at: stopping the run, pass coverage. So they moved into deep safety, and they didn't like how he performed there, and he didn't perform how they wanted there. But he did receive his best PFF overall grade at just under 70 for that season, and he also graded out at 85.5 pass rushing grade. The big reason this turns me on, for the reason of Isaiah Simmons, sorry guys, going to the New York Giants, is New York apparently loves how positionless and versatile he can be. He ran a sub 4.4 in the NFL Combine. We're talking about a 4.39 for the former ACC Defensive Player of the Year that stood next to A.J. Terrell, who is now one of the top corners in the league with the Atlanta Falcons. A young player. And I like how Isaiah Simmons as well can be positionless. If he wanted to drop back to safety, he could. Maybe that's not what they want to do, but if he wants to float around that linebacker position, then he could. Maybe kind of a Jamal Adams type of thing. I'd like to believe that he'll turn out hopefully to be a better player than that. But the plan is for Isaiah Simmons to serve as a hybrid linebacker on passing downs, focusing on dropping back in coverage and blitzing the quarterback, which I think would be great for him. Again, 85.5 pass rushing grade. You bring that over to the New York Giants in a sneaky competitive division in the NFC East. I'm totally here for it. I'm totally here for it because, again, Isaiah Simmons, one of my favorite defensive players in the league. I want to say he had that specific jump and flip with the pick six on Andy Dalton when my Saints played the Cardinals last year, and we threw 2 pick sixes. Why am I doing this to myself? Dude threw 2 pick sixes. 2 at the end of the half. And I believe one of those went to Isaiah Simmons. So again, I am excited about the Isaiah Simmons trade to the Giants. 7th round pick, pretty damn disrespectful. I don't know if they play each other this year, but if so, I'd like to see Isaiah Simmons get some revenge. And ultimately, I'd like to see this Giants defense take another step under Don Martindale's leadership, under all that young talent. I mean, they have a decent squad. And I'm really fans of Simmons, Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, and Azeez Ojulari. Then you just bring in the fact that Deonte Banks was a boss out of Maryland in this draft. You absolutely love that for them. And again, the Giants playing in a sneaky competitive division. Brian Daboll coming over, doing a lot of work. Now you've got Wink Martindale in there, who, again, had that tenure with the Ravens. I am definitely a fan. And again, when I first saw the trade happen, I was like, damn, for a 7th round pick. But when you look into what they saw, what the Cardinals, who might be getting Caleb Williams and maybe even Marvin Harrison Jr. next year, I hope not, just for the sake of Kyler Murray, they ship him out. And, some people are even saying that this is a really, really, really smart move for the Cardinals to do because it kind of shows that they're blowing it up. I think there was trade talks about Budda Baker. Apparently Kyler Murray's going to sit on the shelf all year, even though he's going to be good to come back at some point. So it's going to be interesting to see how things play out for the Cardinals over the years. Again, I love the Isaiah Simmons to the Giants trade.